Hello, race fans. Welcome back to Freaky Fast broadcast, where tonight we have Watkins Glen International Cup layout here for the Underdog Racing League and their truck series as we are deep into the playoffs here tonight. And I tell you what, it's getting down to it because these drivers are going to need to do everything they can to gain back that gap that Jason Finsler has opened up so far in the opening rounds of this playoffs. But we'll have to see how that all plays out here tonight as these drivers are just finishing up the last few moments of practice. Let's give a special shout out to our partner here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting, and that is ButtKicker. Every game deserves a truly immersive experience. The ButtKicker Gamer 2 lets you feel every detail, from the subtle footsteps to the rumble of a V10-powered race car, from the ambient environmental effects to the power of a nearby explosion. By moving a physical mass instead of only air, the Gamer 2 provides instant, accurate, powerful base response, and it's all perfectly synced with every game with no additional software required. So make sure you go to ButtKicker.com and you can check out their ButtKicker Gamer 2 or their other products, and you can also use Freaky Fast 20. Remember Freaky Fast with 2 E's and Freaky to get 20% off of any purchase there at ButtKicker.com. So thank you for ButtKicker for being a proud partner here at Freaky Fast, and we love their partnership. So thank you guys all for tuning in here. We have the Underdog Racing League's playoff series getting down to the nitty gritty here as I'm Zach Hall up in the booth. Joining alongside me will be Sam Dyer, and we'll have our producer Robert Moyer Jr. up here running the cameras. Sam, these drivers are going to need to do everything they can to gain any type of points back because Jason Finsler is making that championship light close at the end of the tunnel.
Yeah, the playoff picture has certainly changed after the first 3 races of the playoffs at Dover, Daytona, and Chicagoland. We now make it to round number 4 here at Watkins Glen for We Can Go Right 2 at Watkins Glen. It's a great time to see road course racing, as this will be the second road course race of the season. They were at COTA during the regular season and now at Watkins Glen for the playoffs, but it's kind of turned into a 3-horse race for the playoff picture. Jason Finsler absolutely dominating, 2 wins so far in our first 3 races of the playoffs at Dover and then last week at Chicagoland. And he's now got a massive lead. 35 points is the difference between himself and Ian Baker, our winner back at Daytona for round 2 of our playoffs. And then you've got Trevor Earhart going to be that in 3rd place in points, 43 points from the leader. And he's our other driver that has won at a road course. So we were expecting to see Trevor have a good run here. But Zach, we're looking at practice, and what our high hopes were coming into this week might have shrunk because Jason Finsler is on top.
Yeah, Finsler already showing good pace. And, you know, we seen at COTA, Finsler led laps. He actually set on the pole. So he was the quickest driver on his 1-lap pace, set the fastest lap of the race. One thing we did see is Earhart did have a little bit better long-run pace and was a little more consistent. Tonight, this track, though, Sam, in my opinion, much less difficult than the COTA, the COTA track we were at. It's a much more technical racetrack. I feel like this is more suited to a lot of NASCAR-style guys because we've been coming here for so long that a lot of guys have experience at this racetrack where that was very limited at COTA. Tonight, I think Finsler could be really, really strong, but at the same time, Earhart, we have seen him perform very well on those long runs and be consistent. I think that's still, at the end of the day, what it's going to take to win the road course race here tonight. But, man, I think it's going to be a lot closer up front, that's for sure.
Absolutely. I mean, those two really looking close. And then Ian Baker about a half a second off of what Jason Finsler's best time is. And then there is almost a cliff that just drops off from 3rd fastest to 4th and past that of drivers and where they're running, as we do have a new face that has come in the 20 machine, Carl Cooks. We'll figure out how to say his name properly, but some new faces coming in, which is great to see. But the field has shrunk from our other 3 races we've had, which kind of expected to see here as road course racing. Usually you see the field shrink just slightly.
Yeah, the field definitely is a little bit smaller than normal for sure there, and that's what you're seeing is right now we head off here into open qualifying session at the moment. So we got 10 laps here, or sorry, not open. This is 10 minutes, 2 laps for these drivers, and be able to get their best times down. But you've seen that gap there, Sam, and that is definitely concerning for the rest of the field. I think road courses is not a surprising thing sometimes to see that gap. Some guys excel more, and then a lot of guys struggle. This is still a difficult road course, even though I'd say it's on the easier side of what we have been going to lately. But man, very easy still to make a mistake. And the biggest thing, I think, got to watch for guys improving over the night. You know, some guys come out here in practice, can't feel out the rhythm. They get into the race, finally get into a rhythm, and they start to find a little bit of pace. And I'm really excited to see if anybody can do that. So we'll have to watch that all night.
Yeah, and this, like you stated, this is kind of a more natural road course that you've been seeing a lot on NASCAR's Watkins Glen. Only 11 corner course with just 3 or 4 real defined sections, as we're seeing here with Kevin Orlando Jr. coming up to turn number 10 and 11. Here at turn 10 and 11, pretty similar, where the drivers are going to be kind of attacking these corners, trying to be aggressive, possible chances of passes being made, but really coming out of this corner number 11, we can kind of do a ride along with the 27 machine, as we can really take a seat on what the drivers are going to be seeing here coming down the front stretch into turn number 1, the primary spot. We're going to be seeing a lot of passes, heavy braking zone here as you start to make the climb up into the S's.
Yeah, and up through these S's, very easy to overdrive. This is all about staying on the right line. You get offline here, it really will upset the truck here as it goes through the top part of the S's. Now for the final part here, back to the right. Very easy to lose the rear here as you head down to the bus stop chicane, one of the toughest corners on this track.
On the back stretch and coming to the bus stop, this is the spot, if you were watching us on Monday on Freaky Fast Broadcasting, for those drivers at below the double yellow, I mean, those drivers really had a hard time here at the bus stop, overshooting it with too much pressure, and then out of the bus stop into the carousel, where the drivers are going to be having a long sweeping right-hand turn, and then they start heading towards turn number 10.
Down here is the final 2 corners down this long back stretch. Very critical here to set up a pass possibly into that final corner, as this corner leads down to this left-hander. You get all the way here on the curve, got to get back left here for this right-hander to come back to the finish line. All about putting the power down nice and gentle here to head down this long straightaway to set up any type of overtaking move down in the one.
Big thanks to Kevin Orlando Jr., who that is his first lap here for qualifying. The driver's going to have 2 laps, put down their best times, and with road course racing, sometimes your first lap is your best time out of a 2-lap qualifying term, just because you can make a simple mistake on that second lap.
Oh, it is so easy to make a mistake on one of these laps. You have to be perfect if you want to get that good lap in. And a lot of times you're going to see guys on the first lap possibly make a little mistake maybe underdrive it or overdrive a little bit the grip level, because sometimes the track does change from that practice to qualifying. Kind of catches you a little bit off guard, and you got to go out there and drive it a little bit differently. But I'm also interested in, I haven't really seen anybody do this, but just from past experience at road courses, I would personally take a very slow outlap to really try not to use any tread on the tires and slowly build the heat into the tire, because over this long lap you get enough heat. By usually turn 3 or 4, you're up to heat on the tires, and the thing starts really going. So you can give up some time in 1 and 2 there by being on colder tires, but I believe it helps you with having fresher tires overall. It's just an interesting strategy, but I haven't seen nobody do that yet. So looking for any drivers out here taking a slow outlap. Looks like Finsler might be coming for his lap here now.
Big shock. We kind of saw it on Monday of seeing that of Eric Hutton getting a surprise win over Adam Baker on Monday night for below the double yellow. Exactly same course here, but they were running in the Xfinity cars for 30 laps. Here in the trucks tonight for the Underdog Racing League Truck Series, 25 laps these drivers are going to be dealing with, as you're seeing a lot of hard driving here. Drivers really have a handful coming in at turn 1. That was another spot that we saw Monday night where drivers were having issues getting over the curbing and actually getting on the throttle too soon. But I think for the biggest thing for these drivers, it's got to be staying mentally focused, as on Monday we saw the driver that was dominating, Adam Baker, coming to the white flag, made some major errors that cost them the win. I mean, really, road course racing here, Zach, it's only 25 laps. This race could end in a blink of an eye, but we were hearing from the drivers, just 30 laps was mentally draining. How is even just less than that 25 laps going to feel for these guys?
Oh, especially when you're under pressure, Sam. 25 laps, say if you have someone right behind you, it just feels like you never have a break. At every corner, you're trying not to watch the guy behind you and make a mistake, but you're also trying to make sure that they're not gaining on you anywhere, or going to make any type of risky maneuver that may take you out. So there's a lot that goes through your mind. And every single lap at a road course, you're thinking of something new. You're trying to figure out the grip level because it changes every single corner. So 25 laps can be very draining, especially at a road course, and especially when you're in a stock car. I mean, 25 laps in a GT car around here, personally, would kind of be somewhat of a breeze. Those cars are meant to go around here. These things are not. So you're around here driving the wheels off it, trying to manage every deficiency this car had or this truck has, and it's mentally draining. I can tell you that much.
As a lot of the drivers have already got their times down, and the big surprise to see, Ian Baker top of the board in the 88. One of our top three that are battling for a championship run right now. Very slim to see the 88 win the championship just because of how large of a margin Finsler has. But Jason Finsler second on the board currently, but Trevor Earhart going to be back in third. But the rest of the field, that of James Loveland, he's stepped up quite a bit. As now we're seeing the Mike Aleo Jr., who's on his warm-up lap here with the final 3 minutes and 20 seconds left in qualifying, has time for at least one, maybe two laps to finish here. And looks like the 20 and the 1 deciding to not put a time down for themselves.
Yeah, and I can tell you one thing: Jason Finsler and Trevor Earhart both on their second lap, both had major mistakes getting off tracks. Earhart went off in the bus stop, and then Finsler actually went off in sixth, right here where Mike Aleo is about to come through. So right here on that corner of that curb, caught that a little bit, got an off track, was not able to use that lap, and that's another thing. We had an update. It seems like the off tracks are more forgiving at certain tracks. I'm not sure if Watkins Glen or all the tracks got it, but I know a lot of tracks got an off track updates, but it seems like Finsler still, by dropping 2 tires off, got an off track there in turn 6.
As the drivers are slowly coming to a close with 2 minutes and 30 seconds left. Off tracks, it's also going to be a factor during this race. I know that there are certain parts of this course that drivers have to be aware. If you cut the course, there is a yield system that drivers do have to adhere to. How much, or are there many spots here on this course? Are the drivers going to have to worry about the yield system, or is that really just primarily at the bus stop?
Primarily the bus stop. Really, that's going to be the only corner you see. You could possibly do it if you cut the inside of turn 1 down there in the grass. I imagine it would give you one there, but I'm unsure. I've never gone down there and explored down there to see if there is, but I can tell you definitely get one there in that bus stop chicane, and that's going to be the one that the guys got to watch out for. You're going to see some guys make mistakes down there and then go for it anyways and then wreck. Whereas some guys are going to take that mistake and then just go straight through it and just say, I'm going to take it, not wreck today, take the slow down. I think that's a smart decision for a lot of guys, especially if you're just trying to survive in this race. But if you're going for it, you cannot make a mistake because a slowdown penalty is it hurts you. It's a really harsh penalty.
Yeah, especially with the Cup cars at these road courses, you do have to slow down and wait for that time. I know in certain here on iRacing, there's certain series and courses where the yield system can be kind of abused for some drivers. I know in the trophy trucks, you can really abuse it. It's frowned upon, but drivers can certainly get in trouble if you get caught abusing systems. So drivers certainly have to be careful, especially here tonight. But qualifying looks to be coming to a close as drivers have parked it. No more time for other machines. 40 seconds left in qualifying. Zach, what are some primary focuses that you think these drivers have to be aware of here tonight, especially with the shortened stage of 10 laps and then almost exactly the same amount of time for the second half of the race?
Yeah, with it only being 10 lap runs, personally, I would say a lot about saving tires. But personally, with 10 laps, I think you're going to need to go out there and kind of get away. If you can get a nice gap build up, win that stage, come back down, have the track position again, keep the track position, and then do the same thing in the next stage, it'll be critical. But I would say you got to be careful with the rear tires. You start sliding those things on exits, it can get very, very difficult, especially that left rear tire. We have a lot of right-handers here putting a lot of load into that left rear tire, so got to watch the right-handers tonight for putting that rear tire to bed.
Well, drivers are now gritting up for this 25 lap race. It's going to be an interesting one here tonight, as here is your starting lineup Ian Baker in the 88 able to get the pole position with Jason Finsler to his outside. Then Trevor Earhart, James Loveland, row number 2. Then you got that of Justin Stunnard and Justice Murphy going to be in that next row. Kevin Orlando Jr., Matt Job, 7 and 8 for themselves. Christopher Heights and Nick Alva is going to be 10 and 11. Then you put yourself with Eddie Waldermouth as well as John Magner, going to be back in 12th and 13th with Sean Huttstutler, Dylan Walterman. I mean, both those drivers were hoping for better playoff runs for themselves, kind of just hoping for the best here tonight. And then back in 16th, that's where you'll find yourselves with the 52. Last car to put a time down of David Boyle is going to be there in 16th. And you've got that of Carl Kirks, who's going to be a driver to watch out for. Don't really know much about what this 20 is going to do. Sometimes drivers come in late into a season trying to get some reps with the field. Others come in just to be a road course ringer. We'll see if the 20 can drive his way through the field. Michael Leo Jr. and Dennis Steele, your final drivers. Only 18 showing up for tonight's race. Surprising to see this small of a field.
Yeah, definitely in the playoffs. It's gonna make the points harder for these guys to gain. If say Finsler does have a mistake, he's gonna lose less points with the amount of cars here. So that's one thing good for his back pocket, because he's built that lead up for this reason. If anything happens here tonight, we do have a fast repair. So if something does happen to him at first, it's going to take something else really to take him really out of it. So he's gonna have 2 lives, Sam. But I tell you what, a road course, those 2 lives can be quickly used up very fast.
Absolutely, they can for sure. And oh boy, I'm excited for this race, because there's a lot of tension of if Jason Finsler has a mistake, it gives the rest of the field a chance during this playoffs. But if we see the 5 finish in the top 3 here tonight, we'll still let the admins count up the numbers, but there's a chance that Jason Finsler could lock this race up by finishing up in our top 3 and then having a starting park for the rest of the season. The 5 could honestly lock this championship up, which we kind of knew coming into the playoffs. He was the man to beat.
Yeah, this guy's been on a roll all season. Nothing's been able to stop him. A few hiccups here and there, but mostly it's just been a lot of dominance from that 5. And if he can continue that tonight, like you said, we could see him lock it up and really just have to have a starting park next week in Michigan.
Currently, only 17 drivers are gridded up and running it. Looks like I take that back, actually. Only 16 drivers are running. Dennis Steele is our admin race control, and looks like Michael Leo Jr. prepping to start on pit road for the 74. And also, the 20 machine did not load up into the grid. So, looks like we're only going to have 17 drivers, which is great for Finsler. That means that's more points for him to grab if he has a bad day.
Well, Ian Baker now up front. I tell you what, say with him not having the fastest practice time, that's great for him to go out and get that pole here. Well, let's see what he can do with the lead. He's going to be under a lot of pressure here. He is the closest one in points. So, like you said, we could see him gain the most from all this. He needs to get that stage win. Hopefully, he can hope for Finsler to have some type of trouble here where he doesn't get points, because he's going to need every bit of advantage he needs to get that points in the back.
Well, it's almost time for these drivers as they're entering turn number 10 and soon to be 11. Stage break will be on lap 10 for these drivers, and then we've got a quick pit road, and then they'll get back to racing action. It's a lot of pressure to do well quickly. The top 10 will get stage points for themselves. And for Ian Baker, Trevor Earhart, they have to be finishing up in the top 3, get as many bonus points as possible to keep this thing close. So we're entering turn number 11. Here for the Underdog Racing League Truck Series. It's round number 4 of 6 in our playoffs. It's time to see, can Finsler get another win, or will someone else show him up? The flag man waves the green one, and we are green here at Watkins Glen.
Wow, and Finsler, way better restart. Here comes Earhart down on the bottom. He's possibly going to take it to inside of Finsler, very close to the quarter panel. Actually has to check up there. That's going to let the 88 get the big run out of 1 there. Finsler off into the S's as the rest of the field fights.
Everyone gets through turn 1 perfectly, and the next really scare part you got to worry about here on the S's. On the exit of these drivers, got to be aware of not bouncing off one another, and it looked like for a question there is Gunnar Loveland. Contact made. That's going to be contacting a lot more. It's almost a complete jam pack. No yellow is waved As this is road course racing, it was deemed if admins thought that a caution was needed, they would throw it. And just 2 drivers involved, they'll stay green. But luckily, Kevin Orlando Jr. did not get involved that much. He was saved by some of the cars bouncing around him.
Oh man, early carnage there, Sam. And like you said, the S is so treacherous there, side by side. It just did not work. Loveland got loose, caught the quarter panel of the 33 of Justin Stunner, and that's race hurt for both of those drivers. They both have fast repairs, but they're going to definitely have to use them. As now we look at the rest of the field and make it through lap number 1.
Side-by-side action thought to be made, as that is Christopher Heights, Nate Morris, and Justice Murphy. Murphy going to go straight into the pits. Looks like he might have been docked with a penalty. He goes straight into pit road for the 18, or felt like there was too much damage to himself, as still the hard battling going on for 6th place. Morris doing a great job pulling away as Heights on the low side. As I say that, though, Morris goes a little bit too wide off the exit, losing 2 positions and maybe more.
Yeah, Morris just out-braking himself, losing those 2 spots, going really wide. Luckily, he was able to get back on track. Sometimes you can catch that grass, and you can have a major wreck there, as we've seen multiple times in the Cup Series here and multiple different series here. So, dangerous little spot there. Nate Morris makes it through, but gives up 2 spots as they head down to the bus stop now. Look at Christopher Heights. He's moved up from 10th, really almost, I believe, up to the 5th position. So, great job for him. 5 positions in these opening 2 laps.
Yeah, Heights right now doing a great job just keeping himself clean, as a lot of the drivers in front of him got caught up in those incidences. That of Justice Murphy, James Loveland, and Justin Stunnard. Stunnard had to take a tow at the top of the hill, so that is one of the longest points to be trying to get a tow, and he's still in pit road and decides to park it for the 33, an early exit, and not even able to finish lap number 1.
That is unfortunate for him, man. That's gonna be a dead last finish for him. But sometimes Watkins Glen is just, I think at this point he was like, you know what, that was just not how I wanted it to go. I'm not even gonna go back out there tonight. So he's gonna end it early, but up front now, the top 3 have already pulled away about to a over 9-second lead. They're back to Kevin Orlando Jr. But the top 3 evenly spaced here and running pretty similar lap times that second lap.
It's kind of showing if you're running this similar, who's going to be saving for the last 5 laps of a run. If we were watching based off of Monday's race, drivers really started to drop off their best times by over a second, 2 seconds for the drivers that were up front based on how hard they were racing. But the drivers in the back, they were losing over 5-6 seconds off their best time. So questioning who's really using all of their stuff, who's setting up for later on in the run. As looking like Justice Murphy as well as Loveland did get their service done, deciding to take their fast repair and get another use one of their 2 sets of tires here early on. Might as well try. I mean, you've got 2 sets in pit road. The drivers are not did get word that they did not have to make a green flag pit stop unless they were involved in something. So might as well take one of your fresh tires now and take the other one at the end of stage 1.
We're looking here now at Christopher Heights. He's still running in that 5th position, right directly ahead of Nick Alves, Nate Morris. Those 3 have been stacked up here in that from 5th on back. And I think it's going to be a battle between these 3. Also, not too far back, Andy Wildermuth. So really 4 drivers right there in the running, and then not too far back even in that gym.
Yeah, and then there's also a 3-horse battle going on for 10th place, as Stutler, Magner, and Walterman, they are side-by-side battling as well coming into the bus stop, and it looks like Magner's going to be losing 2 positions as Stutler and that of Walterman able to close away and pull away from the 15.
Yeah, Walterman's doing a good job of making up some time here from a bad qualifying session for him. He's got that 94 directly ahead of him. Stutler has made a few spots also. And these guys are looking to continue forward here.
Oh, Eddie Wildermuth hard and already stuck into the wall coming out of turn number 10.
Oh, no.
The 81, that looks like that's going to have to be a tow, and luckily he's close to pit road, but stuck in the tire barriers. He's waiting for other drivers to go for him to give himself a second chance to get out of there, but a tow is necessary when you get locked up in the tires.
Yeah, that was the worst case scenario for him. So close to pit road. If he could have just been able to get out of the barrier, he would have been able to get that faster pair and, would have lost time, but personally would have been fine because the stage coming up so soon. But man, now he's got a toe. That's going to definitely ruin his race. He's going to go a lap down. Possibly, though, because only right now looks like Stunnard is a lap down as Loveland still on the lead lap unless this next time by it changes. Oh! Heights going through the grass in the bus stop.
Christopher Heights, bus stop issues for himself. Just coming in with a head of steam and tried to slow down and lost the back end. I think he actually might have hit the barrier on the entry into the bus stops when he locked it up. Nope, he missed the barrier. Just came down a little bit too fast. Rear end just spun around on him.
And you want as much front turn there as possible to get that good entry on that first curve. But a little bit too much turn there as, like you said, the rear end goes straight around and almost clobbering the barrier there. Got a little bit lucky. And Nate Morse had to do a basic maneuver, but he actually got a slowdown penalty from that maneuver. He didn't miss it, but got no trouble there. But that definitely opened up the gap to Nick Alves now, who is in a comfortable spot up in fifth. And he's actually starting to run down Orlando Jr., who's actually made a mistake out of one. So it's only about a 3-car gap there for fourth.
Fourth place starting to close up with that mistake, and Nick Alves doing a great job for himself, moving up to where he's at. Looking back at the other road course that we had, that was at Road America, and really that was the first time any of these drivers really took a stock car to Road America, to the Americas, and to the Circuit of the Americas. Certainly one of the more difficult courses that you could take a stock car to. And for Nick Alves, he finished 7th during that race and actually qualified 7th. So not surprised to see the 24 running as well as he is. We continue to watch the hard battling that's going on for 10th place. Still 3 cars there. You see Christopher Heights in the 21 ahead of the 15, and then right on his back bumper, that's where you find Dylan Walterman trying and hounding the back bumper.
Yeah, and Alves up here for that 4th position. He's all over Orlando Jr. He was side by side there. Orlando Jr. made a good run out of 6 and down into 7, was able to get back by, but here we hop now on the front nose of Alves. He's been much quicker, and here he goes for an overtaking maneuver, trying to outbrake that 27.
We talk about the drivers using up their tires, but also when you make mistakes and going into the dirt, how much does getting grass or dirt on the tires really affect these cars? Or if you find yourself sliding and trying to get back up to speed, does that also affect the tire wear at all?
Well, definitely any sliding is going to be bad. Sliding is just going to create heat, which in turn is going to be air pressure, which is going to be a harder tire that is just not going to be friendly. You ever heard someone talk about their tires feel like basketballs? They're just, really stiff out there on the racetrack, and you just ain't got the feel. That's when you've been sliding around too much, definitely. But, hitting that grass, the biggest thing I'd say, you do sometimes feel the less grip, especially if you put the rear tire out there or say under a scenario where you're braking. Up this speed, it's not too bad. It's really just kind of scares you more than anything. But if you get on that grass under braking, it will definitely break that car one way, because one side of the car is going to have a lot more braking power on that asphalt, and the other side is definitely not. As this battle ensues, Orlando Jr. trying to do everything. He's going to pit here because the pit road closes at lap 8. He's going to come down here on lap 7.
At the start of lap 8 into lap number 7. This is a very close call, but Kevin Orlando Jr. feeling like track position is going to be the most important factor. This 27 setting up not to pit during stage 1, or going to be pitting now, get some fuel. So all he has to do under pit road next time is come in for fuel, gain some positions there. But that is giving up 4th position to Nick Alves, who now has a 17, almost 18-second gap until 3rd place, as our top 3 have really just gapped themselves away from the rest of the field.
I actually like this strategy from Orlando Jr. because personally, he should come out with the lead. I don't think he'll have to pit again. With a full tank of fuel here, they have plenty of fuel if they pit from now to make it to the end of this race. So I think Orlando Jr. may be our race leader when this all cycles through after the pit stops. But there's lap 8 pits. The pit road is now closed. Everybody can make a pit stop as Finsler down into 1. It's definitely looking good for Finsler's right now. The lap times are in his favor. Baker about a 10th slower, and Trevor Earhart about a 10th faster than Finsler, but about 5 seconds back, so a long way back.
And the driver that just parked it on the side, letting our leaders go, that was David Boyle, who understood, hey, I'm not even going to question myself around the leaders coming up through the S's. Going to be slower than them. We'll stay out of the way this early on. A very smart move from the driver that goes one lap down. In front of him, though, Kevin Orlando Jr., he got fresh rubber, but it is all wasted as a major issue for himself coming through that of the carousel.
Oh no, on the fresh rubber, cold tires, got loose. And we're going to see here on the Freaky Fast replay as he goes down out of the bus stop into the carousel here. He's going to hug that inside lane. And he's just going to have a big oversteer moment, correct that car. It's going to catch, send him dead right into the barrier. And what a problem for him there, as he's got a lot of damage. But, man, he's got to come down now definitely a bit when that stage ends.
Well, it looked like a great strategy. It goes up in smoke as now Kevin Orlando Jr. going to be hounded by our leader. As we're looking at some of the rest of the field, I mean, it's such a major gap of where the drivers are at for a lot of them that there's not a lot of battles going on currently. I think the biggest one might be that of our leader trying to get by Kevin Orlando Jr., which Orlando Jr. is just going to pull to the side and let the 5 go.
Yeah, I wonder how hard he's going to battle him here, because this is going to be the last lap here in this stage. Oh no, he actually somewhat breaks harder than our leader down in the bus stop. Thought that might be an incident, but he gets back by. Really, the battle for second is what's heating up, as Baker's got Earhart all over the back bumper now with about 2 truck lengths heading into the carousel.
Ian Baker making a huge mistake that last lap, which is costing him time, giving it back to Trevor Earhart. And now Earhart, he's got to figure out how to make this pass into turn 10, because they aren't going to be close enough to try to make the pass in turn 11. As that of Jason Fensler, once he crosses the line, yellow flag will wave. So here they come, coming into turn number 11. They've got a shot here, but it's going to be just a little bit too far for the 25.
Not enough, but I tell you what, he's going to have a few more laps in the next run of this race. Just try and set something up to get by Baker here, but there it is. Caution is out. Stage is over. Jason Fensler, winner of stage number 1, and that's going to get him max points.
And Jason Fensler going to be winning stage number 1 with Ian Baker, Trevor Earhart, as well as Nick Alves, Nate Morris in 5th place with Matt Jobe, Sean Hutstadler, Michael Leo Jr. Then in 9th place, you got Christopher Heights and Dylan Walterman. The biggest surprise to me has to be Michael Leo Jr. He started in pit road, let everyone else get about a 5-second lead gap, and he cut his way through all that traffic, and now up to 8th place for the 74.
Yeah, he did a fantastic job. I mean, a lot of guys made mistakes. He just did not. Like you said, started from pit road and just slowly, methodically just worked his way through that field. And now he's going to have some good track position for this final stage. We'll have to see what he can do, see if he can go forward maybe a few positions with the pace he has.
Jason Fensler now going to be racing his way towards our pace car, which is, I believe, just sitting at the end of pit road. So yeah, right now, pace car finally getting back up and running on pit road as our leaders come racing to him. Now the drivers get to take some parade laps and also get down into pit road. Zach, got to see our first stage. Any surprises for you, or did that seem like a normal Watkins Glen?
Well, personally, looking at Nick Alves, he was kind of the surprise for me, mostly saying he just drove through and was very smooth. You know, didn't have a lot of sliding around for that 24, and that's what it's going to take at a road course, man. I'm very impressed for him to drive from 11th all the way to 4th in that first stage.
Also, for some of these drivers, like Kevin Orlando Jr., got some damage after that spill that he had. I mean, if you still have a fast repair, do you wait until you get into a major crash to get back out there, or do you think about using your fast repair now at the end of stage 1?
I think he's gonna have to use it now. You know, if he has another major incident, he's already a lap down now. You know, if he has another major incident, it's almost race over, especially with the amount of laps he got. I mean, he's got nothing to lose personally. It's the playoffs, maybe gain a few spots by getting a few points here. I think he just needs to go ahead and get that fast repair done. But the only other issue is, you know, well, I can't say it's an issue. He'll get the lucky dog here, so he should be back on the lead lap after this. But I would definitely be taking that fast repair. That nose definitely somewhat killed.
Well, I think that's a good call for himself, especially with the woes that he had. Now the question is, does he want to take that final set of tires? You'd imagine that he would. But then you just question overall the strategy of even trying to pit this early. I know it was a gutsy call. It just backfired for the 27. This field's catching up. They should be going into pit road this time. But I do want to give a quick recap of those drivers that are already out of this race. The one of Dennis Steele, he is our race control admin for this race, so he was not going to even show up. Then the 20 machine, he was did not even hit the grid. Did not qualify, but ran well during practice. As you see the field now going into pit road. And then that of Justin Stunnard, as well as Eddie Wildermuth, they have actually already DNF'd in the first 5 laps of this race, both of them having hard contacts and deciding it's worth just sitting out the rest of this race instead of putting yourself in more trouble. They are now in pit road. Can't make any mistakes. Can't slide. Can't make any issues. I know on Monday we saw some drivers overshooting or getting too close to the outside wall. Right now, everyone seems pretty good. A little bit of smoke flaring up from drivers locking up, though.
Well, I'll tell you what, this is, we don't talk about it enough, I feel like, at this track, but it's completely opposite. This track is a different way. And yeah, Finsler made a mistake. I was just about to point that up. He actually didn't slide through his box. He understopped his box and had to pull forward. So did not get the optimal stop. And look at that. That's going to give Baker back the lead. Remember, he was our pole setter, but didn't have the lead going down to 1. And Earhart up to 2nd. So now Finsler, it's going to be tough for him, guys. This is put him in a sticky situation. As soon as he get the lead on that restart, he's going to have to do something very major here to get the lead down to 1.
Well, drama. Well, it looks like we're going to be doing an extra pit stop with drivers being a lap down. We'll do a quick commercial break. When we come back, it's going to be time for us to race the rest of this thing, and it might be an 11-lap shootout. It's going to be a fun one. We'll be right back in a few. Earhart green here, and Jason Finsler once again trying to get a great launch for himself. Trevor Earhart got to be careful on the outside, trying to defend the 5. It is round 4 of 6 here in the playoffs for the Underdog Racing League Truck Series. My name is Sam Dyer. With me is Zach Holland in the production chair. It's Robert Moyer as they're climbing up the S's. Zach, it's time for 11-lap shootout.
Oh man, and Baker is sliding sideways already. He's sliding sideways at the end of the last stage. Let's see what he can do. He has the penalty here now. Finsler, he's going to have to make a pass. We're going to see how it's done. Man, I cannot wait. This is going to be a titanic of a battle. Finsler makes somewhat mistake. He's in the grass. That lets Earhart get to the bottom. He's going to make the move up to second.
Can't go that far high as he overshot, and that's how important the bus stop can be, setting up for the carousel. And now Jason Finsler trying to battle back, going to be on the outside, setting up for corner number 10. These drivers, all the goal is for that of Baker and Earhart is make sure the 5 finishes behind them if they want a shot to defend them. And still going a little bit too far on the outside. Finsler's got some issues that lap, but he's still holding strong. Even with all those errors, he's not really moving away.
No, he is not. He's looking here to the inside, down to one of the best overtaking spot on the track. Here, if you can outbrake somebody, but Earhart, he says, no, I'm going to outbrake you, sir. And he's going to go wide here, but this is going to open up the door to 5. A good run out of 1. Doesn't know if he's going to have to back out of that situation. They're too wide through the S's. Could be very dangerous.
Oh, he's on the
another
bumps.
mistake. Yeah, he cannot get on the curbs, man. So is Earhart, though, up ahead of him, man. These guys making a little bit of mistakes here all over the curbs. He cannot do that. Alves is coming to the picture. As Baker says, I'm trying to run away.
Ian Baker got the pull, and he is not looking back. He had the issues of not getting the best restart when they went green to start out this race, but the second half of this one, it has been a completely different story. Huge mistakes for second and third as drivers really trying to make their way through this course. Ian Baker already up to a 1.4 second lead, but we saw this happen during stage 1 where Baker got a large lead and then Earhart was able to climb back. I'm expecting very similar stints here because you touched on it. Baker looked like that back end was sliding early in this run. Means he's using up those tires extremely quick.
Yeah, he definitely did that in the first run, man. He was struggling the last 2 laps. That was when Earhart was really catching up. Right now, Finsler, though, putting pressure on Earhart. Earhart's going to have something else to worry about other than catching that 88. He's been making a few mistakes. They're going wide right here. That may just be his line. Some guys like to run wider out there. I like what Finsler's doing, keeping it nice and tucked for the run down here to the S's. But now, really close to the second S here. He's actually all over the back bumper of this number 25. Can Earhart get a good power out of here? Doesn't like he will. Finsler, what a power move through the S's inside here move. Coming down to the bus stop. This is one of the hardest spots. Earhart, man, what a braking maneuver he just did as Finsler backs completely out of it.
I think Finsler recognized that they were going to be side by side on the entry of the bus stop, and you do not want to be in that scenario because usually if you're on the inside, which you would think would be the preferred lane on the entry of the bus stop, usually you find yourself out in the gravel going too far. But like you said, the braking zone for the 25 of Trevor Earhart, incredible. I cannot believe he sent it that far, but keeping himself steady, going as far as he can go. Drivers, though, in our front half, certainly keeping it clean. And side-by-side action is going on as Kevin Orlando Jr., who went with the bold strategy of pitting early and getting some damage after his woes, able to move up now to 11th for the 27 and getting by that of Justice Murphy. And Mike Leo Jr., who we saw move up to 8th, he actually had some issues on pit road that cost him time, and now all the way back in 14th has to make all that ground up again.
Yeah, he did it the first stage. Gonna have actually about 1 or 2 more laps this stage, so gonna have a little bit more time for him, see if he can get back into a higher position. But man, at 27, he still got a lot of damage on the nose, and another driver who's made a recovery, James Lovell, wrecking in that first lap with him and Justin Stunner. He got it faster than Kevin back in there, and now coming back up to the field, looking to get to the inside joke here. Gonna back out just like Finsler did there, heading out to the bus stop. Smart maneuver.
Oh, I heard a thank you, and that was from Trevor Earhart, who I think might have made a mistake through the bus stop, and he did, giving plenty of space to the 5, and almost got blown up by the 5 on the exit. It's now Jason Finsler. He's got fresh air and some space to try to run down the 88.
I tell you what, he's got plenty of time. 8 laps here, coming to 7 to go. That is an eternity You cannot get too overzealous here and try to get too much and make a big mistake. It's got to all come down to here. Nice, consistent laps because I'll tell you what. Oh, as he catches. Oh, wow. Oh, no, rear's wrecking.
Ian Baker out of turn number 1, the spot that we saw a lot of trouble on Monday for the below the double yellow. He's now stuck. He's trapped in the wall from the lead to a toe.
Man, all 3 of our leaders, all 3 of them, huge mistakes down into 1. I mean, Finsler about wrecked. Earhart, he overshot the corner by a mile. I mean, it was really, really wild to see there. That all transpired there out of 1. Now Finsler to the lead, but this is crazy stuff here, Sam, as we ride on board with Earhart.
I mean, absolutely bizarre racing for our drivers up front. Went from Ian Baker trying to just stay up front and possibly just defend from the 5 to now all the way back to 15. Took the toe, and because he was on the exit of pit road, that is the longest point on course that you can get a toe from.
Yeah, that is the worst case scenario. Baker, oh man. I don't know if it could have been the fact that Finsler just got the second. That got in his mind. I mean, you gotta stay composed, but man, just lost the rear tires there awful out of 1. And it's so easy to do because you're putting the power down there.
Jason Finsler, there are some bonus points that you can grab. Get a bonus point for getting the pole, a bonus point for leading the lap and the most lap, and then the big money bonus points is winning the stage. You can get 10 bonus points from that, and then it clocks all the way down to 1 bonus point in 10th place. Jason Finsler might not have won in the pole department, but he has gotten the rest of those bonus points. And if he wins here tonight, there is a chance this race could be locking up the championship. Because Trevor Earhart, he was second in points. I mean, he was third in points coming into today, 43 points back. This is going to be even bigger than what it was before.
Yeah, it's grown, and especially with Baker's major mistake out front, this is definitely become overcast on our championship battle for that lead. As Finsler here comes by this time, 5 to go. Earhart 2/10 faster that time by. If Finsler makes a huge mistake here, if Earhart can put pressure on him, you never know. He can make a mistake where he opens all this back up. But we ain't seen Finsler do that many times this season. He's been rock solid.
A lot of hard racing that's going on as we're seeing this battle for 9th between Walterman and Justice Murphy, and they're trying to get through turn number 1 cleanly and now going up through the S's. And then also in front of them, you find yourself with Matt Job and Hutstutler right on top of one another, nose to tail. And the middle of the pack certainly been kept it racy as they've all been on equal footing. This is probably what we'll be saying for the rest of the race, unless we see Finsler make a major mistake. Ian Baker has got the toe finished. He's used his fast repair back on course, but he is 1 lap down. If anything, he might be able to run down that of David Boyle, who's going to be having to make a pit stop at some point during this race, as he has not done so yet at all. He's the only driver that's not pitted because he went the 3-way round, and there goes Walterman hard into the wall, spinning around. Got to be careful. Other drivers are coming in, and they're able to avoid. Woo!
Yeah, that's a sketchy spot to spin, and luckily everybody makes it through there clean. We've seen major incidences on that corner right there down that straightaway before, and luckily everybody else gets through it nice and clean. Walterman, not the best for him, but tell you one driver who's making a comeback again, Loveland. He's up to the top 5, not too far behind Nate Morris. He could drive himself all the way back to 4th where he was starting. So if he can do that, I think Loveland has had a huge success tonight here in that 56.
Absolutely. I mean, Nate Morris is right in striking distance. Right now, Loveland's running about 7/10, maybe 8/10 faster than that of Nate Morris the last lap. So certainly has the pace in the 56 to get up there. Also running a little bit faster than that of Nate Alves, but Alves is about 3 seconds ahead of them. So it's still close. But they've also got Baker, who's going to be on the outside, just trying to give space to everyone else as they're going through the carousel.
Yeah, and Alves is not out of reach. There are 4 to go, coming to 3 to go this time. He's definitely not out of reach there. He's going to be looking to make the move here on Morris down in this long straightaway down in the turn 6. Makes it down to the left-hander. What a pass for Loveland up to 4th now. He can set his sights and just put a little bit of pressure in these next 3 laps on Alves. If Alves makes any type of mistake, Loveland could get there.
Yeah, I mean, Loveland's been doing a great job. Turn 10 seems to be that sweet spot where he just sets drivers up to make the pass off the exit. This 56 coming with a head of steam, but Nick Alves certainly pulled away to over 3.4 seconds as they start that of lap with 3 laps to go. It's going to be a lot of work for themselves, but it looks like that of Christopher Heights has gone around the same spot we saw Ian Baker. Luckily, he didn't get stuck in the tires.
Man, that's such a hard spot to put the power down there out of the 1. And you're seeing a lot of guys struggle with that. Trying to get the most out. That's a spot where you can gain time by going faster and putting more power down, but it's also a spot where you can very easily wreck the car, and that's what you see there from the 21. But he got it back going pretty well. Got ahead of Lao Jr. here, and he's looking to hold on to about a 9th position. But they're almost wrecking it to the bus stop.
Orlando Jr. goes off on the entry of the bus stop, and he goes around into the gravel and still trying to get that 27 out of the groove. Finally gets it back on track. But our producer has been saying it almost every single time we see a driver spin on corner number 1. Could be oil. I mean, there are no white flags except for the stage. So every single time we've seen a driver wreck there, could be building up oil there. I mean, what an aspect that would be if iRacing was able to add, oil onto the course if based on a spot where the drivers had an incident at.
Well, I'll tell you one thing, we got a big update. You never know. Maybe we got some secret stuff in there that we don't know about. But man, I tell you what, a lot of guys having trouble there. But 2 to go. Finsler's opened that gap up to a ginormous amount, and I don't think there's going to be any chance here for Earhart unless Finsler makes a gigantic mistake. He's just got to bring this thing home in 2nd. But Finsler's just been too good here tonight at Watkins Glen. What a drive it's been for him.
From the time that the drivers got done gridding up and started driving to pace for this course, they've been out there on the track for only 36 minutes. It has been a blistering time. Hopefully you already had your snacks and you didn't miss any of the racing action, as it has been quick. There's been a lot of chances of our front pack wrecking. We saw Ian Baker, who was leading this race, have issues at turn 1. And continuing to see other drivers, as Ian Baker has been able to make the pass for 14th. So trying to lessen the blow, but this certainly a massive hit for the 88, who was 2nd in points, 35 points out coming into today's race, and needed a win if he wanted a shot to maybe make a ding on the armor or at this points lead that Jason Finsler's had. But the 5's luck at almost every racetrack has been incredible, as we're on the white flag, now heading towards the bus stop for the 5.
Yeah, Finsler has just been on a fantastic season, Sam. We've got the honor to call it and just see the dominance this man has put on. And I tell you what, each and every week, these other drivers out here have stepped up their game too, but this guy has also stepped it up. It's been an overall effort throughout this whole entire league to be able to step up their game. But Finsler has just been on top of it, man. And this championship, well-deserved, is looking like it's in his grasp here as he rounds the final 2 corners.
Well, we weren't sure when he was going to do it, but Jason Finsler coming out of turn number 11, it's straight. And with start number 24, it's going to be an incredible 12th win. He is 50% chance of winning a race that he's started so far. Incredible for Jason Finsler, which we'll wait for confirmation, but this almost pretty much locks up the championship for the 5.
Most certainly this is going to put maybe mathematically it'll be there, but it's going to take a lot of really it's going to take a lot of trucks to enter the next few races if that gap was the change. So it's going to help that out. But man, I tell you what, just an awesome job for Finsler. What a drive.
Got his burnouts down, and now he'll start taking off to the course. Jason Finsler wins again. And we also get to interview that of Nick Alves, who's going to be finishing in 3rd place. A great finish for the 24. And we'll be talking to our top 3. That's Jason Finsler, Trevor Earhart, and Nick Alves in just a few.
All right, we are back here, everybody, with post-race interview segment of tonight's race here at the Underdog Racing League. First up, we got our third place finisher, Nick Alves, after a great run here tonight at Watkins Glen. Let's hear what he has to say after this fantastic run for himself. Hey, Nick, it's Zach up in the booth. You got a copy, man.
I do.
Hey, man, what a great run for yourself tonight out there in the 24, man. Started in that 11th position and just really worked your way up methodically through the whole entire race, finished fourth in the stage. And then there, as Ian Baker made a mistake, man, you took over third and was able to bring it home in the top three, man. How does that feel?
Feels great actually, because after basically the first two turns, I thought my race was done once I saw everyone wreck in front of me. But it was nice to come out on basically coming in the top three, even though it was kind of by luck. But just stay out of trouble and you get rewarded.
Yeah, definitely a tough race out there for a few guys. We've seen a lot of people sliding around, making a lot of mistakes, man. But I tell you one thing, we watched you for a while tonight. You were very, very smooth, man. How did you make it look so smooth out there tonight for your 24?
I'm not good at road courses, and the one thing I learned is practice, practice. I don't know how many hours I spent on this track this week, but it definitely paid off.
Well, it definitely showed, my friend. It definitely was good to see you out there getting that good run for yourself tonight. Watkins Glen. We head off to Michigan next week, man. How do you feel about going into there?
I feel pretty good. It's a nice high speed track. You got to actually work the draft a little bit and again stay out of trouble because if there's a caution there, there's a wreck, it can be a big one.
It definitely can be, my friend. Well, I tell you what, man. Congrats on third here tonight, Nick. Before we let you go, man, anybody want to send a shout to?
I just want to thank my team, finishing 3, 4, and 5. All of us in the top 5, Maddie and Nate. Congratulations, guys. Also to my main sponsor, Turkey Facebook gaming streamer. Check them out.
Awesome stuff, Nick. Well, buddy, congrats on third, and we'll catch you next week in Michigan, man.
Yes.
All right, everybody. That was your third place man, and Nick Alves, that 24 machine. First top three of the season for him, I believe. And man, what a drive for him. But now we have our winner from Coda coming up a little bit short here tonight at Watkins Glen, but nonetheless having a great run again at a road course, Trevor Earhart. Hey, Trevor, Zach up in the booth, man. You got a copy?
I do. How's it going?
Going pretty good, man. I tell you what, buddy, good run out there tonight again here at a road course for yourself. Up there all night, contending in the top three. And man, what a wild, second half of that stage there. Kind of take us through a race all night, man, because you're up there contending and battling with Baker and Finsler.
First stage, I didn't do a lot of long run practice throughout the week, especially yesterday in our practice session. So the first stage, I just kind of get used to how the truck drives in the long run, and the second stage, I pretty much went for it and had a slowdown incident there going into the bus stop. Had to let Finsler by, and then my thought is like, okay, I can let them two battle, and it'll catch me back up and make up for that mistake. And then Ian unfortunately had his mistake. I overdrove turn one at the same time, and then just unfortunate catching a lap car at a bad spot. But I mean, hats off to Finsler. I mean, you would have had to drove a perfect race to beat him, and I didn't. So hats off to him. He did a good job.
Yeah, our producer said he thinks oil was on the racetrack here tonight with some guys slipping and sliding around. But man, I tell you what, good run for yourself nonetheless there. With a tough racetrack here tonight, man. It was so close between you guys up front. How hard was it to gain time on you guys up there? Because like you said, you almost had to drive a perfect race, and I think that was tough to definitely do here tonight on this track.
It was difficult. Finsler was definitely better up the hill through the S's. I was better in the bus stop through the carousel. He was better through the final turn, and so by the end of it, the whole lap, I mean, it just evened out. And when you're that far back, you've got to push so much harder, and you're susceptible to more mistakes. And I overdrove a couple corners, missed a couple shifts, so didn't help the cause any. But hey, Mr. Consistency, another top 10, another top 5. Not going to complain too much about it. We got 2 more weeks to go out and have some fun and try to get a W.
Yeah, definitely, man. It's gonna be fun to watch you these next 2 weeks. I believe this should put you possibly up to second place in points, also. So we'll see how that all plays out for you, man. But congrats on second here tonight, Trevor. Anybody want to send a shout out to before we let you go, buddy?
As always, shout out to you guys and the great job. Shout out to the league. Shout out to all the people on the real estate team I work with, and shout out to Jason. I mean, what can you say? The man's just dominated the whole season, so props to him.
Trevor, great run tonight, man, and we will catch you next week in Michigan, buddy.
Thank you. Have a good one.
You too, buddy. All right, guys, that was Trevor Earhart there, your second place finisher tonight at Watkins Glen. Now we'll move on to our first place man and looking to be champion. We'll see how that works out as the points come out next week, but we're pretty safe to say this man is looking very good for a championship so far this season with 2 races left. But let's hear from him in the 5 machine. Hey, Jason, it's Zach up in the booth, man. You got a copy?
Yes, sir. I got you.
Well, I tell you what, man, what a wild race. To tell of 2 different stages it was. Man, you had a great start on that first start, getting that lead, was able to win the stage, and then there lost the lead in the pit stop sequence, and man, it got wild. Kind of take us through your race tonight.
Yeah, I did just about everything I could to give that one away. I just made a mistake on pit road. I stopped short, trying to play it safe and stop short, so that lost the lead. And then the places I was really good were non-passing zones. So once those guys got out in front, Ian and Trevor, it was really going to take a mess up for me to get by them because I just wasn't that good in the passing zone. So, but like I said last week, just keep the fenders on it, stay on the racetrack, and we'll get a solid finish. And we did that.
Yeah, you definitely kept all the fenders on, man, and kept it on the racetrack. That was the big thing we seen tonight for a lot of guys, keeping it on the racetrack. And I tell you what, we talked to Trevor there about where his strong points are at compared to you and Baker, and he said you looked really good through S's, and you talked about non-passing spots. So where were your strong suits tonight?
Yeah, I could get up through the S's up to the top of the hill really good, and then I was actually really good in the last 2 turns. I kind of changed some gearing, what gear I was in, and it seemed to really work in practice, so I kind of stuck with it for the race. So those 2 areas were really good. I was really good, but obviously they're not passing zones, so it makes it really difficult. But once you kind of get that track position, you can kind of stretch it out a little bit.
Yeah, man, we definitely seen that tonight for yourself, man. What a great race here to win at the road course here at Watkins Glen. 12th win of the season and the 24th start, man. So how does it feel to look back at this season and looking at your stats, with a 50% win rate so far? How does that feel, man? I'm sure you're ecstatic with that.
It feels good. This is the first time I've ever done any kind of league racing, so I didn't really know what to expect or how I'd stack up, but we've had good speed at every variety of racetrack, so it kind of feels good to be able to do that. And these guys, they do a great job in the Underdog Racing League, and they're clean racers. So I've actually had a lot of fun. There's a few races I made some mistakes, but as long as you learn from them and do better the next time, that's all you can do.
Great words from yourself there, man, about wise wisdom a lot of drivers should take in for racing here on this service, man. But congrats on another win here tonight at Watkins Glen, Jason. Before we let you go and get out of here, man, before we head to Michigan next week, anybody wants to shout out to?
Yeah, Justin and all the boys at Underdog, they do a great job. Trevor on a good run. He always races me really clean. Friends and family, appreciate them tuning in. My niece Grace and Casey are tuning in. They watch every week, so I appreciate that. And then you guys do such a great job with the broadcast, so I know everybody really appreciates it.
Well, awesome job, Jason, man. Congrats on your 12th win here tonight, and we'll catch you next week in Michigan.
Sounds good, boys. Thank you.
All right, everybody. That was your race winner here tonight, Jason Finsler. Race win number 12, saying this guy looking to take home a championship here in the next 2 weeks. It's going to be tough to beat him. It's looking pretty much locked up at this point, but congrats to him. He's just been such a good competitor.
Yeah, especially with Finsler winning the stage and then also winning the race. A ton of points to be grabbed for himself, as here are your final results, as you got Jason Finsler, Trevor Earhart, Nick Alves, your top 3, with Nate Morris, Matt Jobe, Sean Hutsteller with Justice Murphy in 7th place, Christopher Heights, Michael Leo Jr., and James Loveland, your top 10. John Magner, Kevin Orlando Jr., Dylan Walterman, Ian Baker, and David Boyle going to be your top 15 of the drivers able to finish out this race. Then you got Eddie Wildermouth and Justin Stunnard, not able to finish out either, as that of Dennis Steele was our race admin for today's race, so did not even start. So that was your final racing results for these guys, and they said it, Michigan's next. Only 2 more races left in this season, and the rest of the field, they're going to need a miracle for this one, as I think they're still waiting on bonus points to come in, which that is a major advantage that that of Jason Finsler had over the rest of the field, but currently with 2 races left, 52 points is the difference between first and second of Trevor Earhart. 52 points, 51 points is for second to first, 52 points from third to first. So it's a close margin, but it almost looks impossible. But there's a very slim chance if Jason just doesn't show up for the next 2 races.
Very, very true. You never know what comes up sometimes. Things happen, man. I've seen crazy things happen before. So if it's not mathematically out of the equation, we can't say it's over. But man, it's almost there. And Michigan will be somewhat of a wild card race. But like I said, it's going to take some pretty big fields for the points gap to be made up. So we'll just have to watch how it all plays out, man. But I'm excited to be able to crown champion in hopefully the next 2 weeks.
Well, this one was a quick one. Only 25 laps here at Watkins Glen. The next 2 ones are going to be much longer as we go to Michigan and Atlanta. It's been a fun one. Zach, I can't believe the season has almost come to a close. It's still a lot of fun racing action to see. Well, from us here tonight, we'll send it up to Robert Moyer to make the final call. As this one was quick and easy, Jason Finsler gets it done once again.
All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Great calling, man. Quick, fast Watkins Glen race. And it was awesome to see these guys out here run again. And, congratulations to Jason on his 12th win, like you guys were talking about. I just don't see it. There's got to be something, major happen or big fields or something, But like Zach said, ladies and gentlemen, mathematically they're still in it, and trust me, we've seen the highs and the lows and things in life, and so this let's hope nothing comes to that point, and we have some great action racing at Michigan and then Atlanta, because Atlanta's going to be hot, slick, sliding around, so they're gonna be having some fun these next 2 races here. But with that being said, tomorrow we are going to be live with Stars and Stripes. Is going to be their season opener at Daytona with the Xfinity cars, with Sam calling the action with Hunter Hayward. Right beside him, we'll be live at 9:30. It's a new league that we are starting, so make sure you hit that subscribe button on YouTube so you don't miss none of that action or any action we have out through the week here at Freaky Fast Broadcasting. But until tomorrow night, we want to say to everybody, God bless everybody. We love you all. Peace out.
Later, everybody.